Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to a Solitaire mystery where I have once again been embarrassed by a low difficulty variant. And we're just, you know what, we're just moving on. It's time to go play in the garden. Plant and harvest vegetables in the garden, but be careful. Each type of crop has its own unique needs. That's a cool idea. This is a 2-star. If this is a 2-star and Time Travel Solitaire was a 1-star, we're never going to get through this. Harvest all the cards from your garden to win. Each garden slot can hold 1 card. Cards cannot be removed from garden slots until harvested. Cards will automatically be harvested from garden slots in groups that satisfy these conditions. 1. The group must be of the same suit and have an average value of exactly 4. 2. The group must be arranged in a certain shape depending on its suit. So pumpkins, 4 cards in a square. Corn is 2 or 3 cards in a vertical rectangle. Blueberry is 2 cards in non-adjacent slots. So just like any, okay. And eggplant, 3 cards in an L shape. Harvested cards return to the deck. Number cards are stacked in descending order by alternating suits. The left slot can hold 1 card. Okay. So I'm looking for a good example here. Unfortunately, a lot of these cards are not actually in scoreable blocks right now. So we can stack them like it was a normal solitaire, right? You're always trying to make 12 with the eggplants, which is not actually a thing we can do right now. There's blueberries, like I need to pair a 6 with a 2. Okay. Yeah, I can see how this is going to be a huge pain in the ass, I'll tell you that. And I guess we can plant some stuff. Like we could use this as a holding space, as long as I know that I'm building toward the right sort of thing. So the corn, it's either going to be 2 cards with a total value of 8 or 3 with a total value of 12. And right now, it's pretty easy to get an 8 going in theory. Where are all my 4s? The fact that there are no 4s in the bottom, like half of the stacks, is going to make actually moving cards around in the stacks really awkward. So if we were going to try to like... Because I could just plant a blueberry anywhere and wait until I have the other correct size of blueberry to make it work. And then like... We have up to 7s, so we have, you know, we can pair an ace with a 7. So 5, 3, 4, 5, 5, 2 works for the eggplants as well. But yeah, like the utter and complete lack of force of any suit is really tripping me up here. So you can move this to we're alternating suit. Yeah, of course we are. Curses. Well, I can just put this aside for a moment and then go like, okay, harvested. Look at that, we're doing it. We're living. We're living the dream. Okay, so 5, 3, 2, 6 in pumpkins would work if we can reserve the space for it. Two, 6, 4, 2, 5, 5. trying to figure out how we work with what we actually have exposed here, though. All right, this will let me pull the 2 back out of here, which is nice, I guess. We actually almost got access to a 4. And we're going to burn it right away. How do I... Because, like, my plan is to do this 255. We can pull this 3 aside. Ah, shit. Never mind. I was going to say, and then we can finally having a 5, we can stack the 5 somewhere, or the 4 somewhere, but no, we can't, because of course the only thing I have open is a 5 of the same suit. That was my plan for getting to our 5 here. We don't have an open 6 to play on, and even if we did have this 6 open, it's the wrong suit. As is everything always. Once cards are planted, they can't be taken back, of course, which makes sense. So, where's a... So there's a 4. We could try to audible this into, like, 264 with the eggplants, but... still difficult to access, right? Okay, now I can do that. That gives me a little bit of freedom. Sure doesn't make it easier to access these 5s, though. Okay, so now... that 5 in either of those 2 spaces completes. So we just have to figure out, where's our next 4? We have a 4 here, we have a 4 up there. How is it that there's just so much there's so many fewer 4s than all the other numbers, I guess? Because not only do we not have any 4s for the bottom ever, it feels like, but also all the 4s are already spoken for. Like, they already have 3s on top of them. You know, I am going to place this 6 to give this 3 a place to be, and then that's going to be, we're building toward that pumpkin patch anyway, right? We were going to do the 6, 5, 2, 3. So we can, yeah, for the moment what we can do is we can place this here, get the other 5 there, and then this is a successful pumpkin patch. Average value of 4. And then the only place we can put this is going to be back on the board, right? Because it's a 6. Oh no, that's right. We do have up to 7s in the piles. So when we match a 6, it's going to have to be like 6, 2, 4. Six, 3, 3. Yeah, we can maybe make that happen. We're getting close to the blueberries. It's necessary to clear this blueberry space out. Remember when I planted that a million years ago? It's like 6, 2, 4 is not undoable. There's that 4. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and plant this just to get it cleared, so that we can potentially work with the spaces again. And maybe go ahead and plant this here, and then we're just waiting for the 4 to go down in the center, but we've left open shapes for the other berry types, the other plant types. Okay, and then I need to access this. So we have... I guess I could plant another blueberry that's off from... Like, it doesn't need to be matched with this, right? Like, I could plant a 3 somewhere, and then just plant a 5 somewhere else later. Yeah, that works fine. And the 6 will just stay there until it until it does eventually get matched. So then we want to go like... That gave me clarity to move this over. Now we have an exposed 7, which is cool. We're about to have another one. And in theory, I'm trying to clear stuff off of this 4. But I guess I didn't realize how hard it is going to be for us to access the rest of the 6s. Yeah, it's not great. So we can got a lot of low corn values right now. Like if I place low corn here, move this over to there, we're not gonna be able to move this ace out for some time. We don't have access to a 6. The blue 7 to go with this stuff is underneath all the 2s. The thing is, I can absolutely just plant this here, right? And just buy time. 5 there, I'll clear that corn. This one's kind of neat, honestly. I'm kind of into it. So this would be starting another eggplant patch if I planted the 3, right? We got to get some of this stuff off the table. So the 4 that completes this is here. If we put down a 3, I don't know. It depends. It's awkward to get to more eggplants, unfortunately. But we could just like tuck it in the corner, have it be a corner problem. And doing that allows me to clear some blueberries, which gives me more room to play stuff. I don't really want to place... I mean, we kind of just gotta place more blueberries, right? As awkward as that is. And then we can start a new pumpkin patch in this corner here. Okay, then there's space for our pumpkin patch, right? May as well run out more of that stuff, and then we can finally move the ace out of there. So this pumpkin patch is averaging 4 already. We just need to average 4 across the other 2 slots as well. This finally lets me clear my 6. So now we want 6 and 2 or 7 and ace or 4 and 4 for the remaining half of this pumpkin patch. Which is fine, totally doable. So there's no finishing this eggplant patch with the 7, right? 3 and 7, we would need a 2, and we've spent all the 2s already, actually. So this has to be 3, 3, 6, or... No, it has to be 3, 3, 6. I think it's the only one that works, right? But wait, then what's left is 7... No, 7, yeah, 7, 4 is right. So yeah, okay. So I locked myself into a very particular thing by revealing these in this way. It's a little inconvenient. All right, let me do this. This will burn those blueberries, allowing me to access some weird stuff. We almost have an empty slot. If I put this 7 over here, we can plant you and you, because we know we're making 633 here. Then 2 clears the pumpkins, 3 clears the eggplants. And then from here, it's mostly just like things that can still fit will complete with each other, right? Six to make a vertical in the corner, and then 7 and ace. So the two matches here. The ace and the 7 match. Yeah, this one's clear then. 7 ace for 4 to clear the eggplants, 4 to clear the pumpkins. That gets us blueberries, and there's the corn. Because solitaire is easy. It turns out. Here's the thing: the number of stars. I think I must have been reading these difficulty ratings backwards. 2 stars means easy. 1 star means impossible. All right, what are we looking at here? Solartaire. Align the planets and restore order to the solar system. Playable with a standard deck. If you have to create the cards yourself, that's not really what a standard deck is, I don't think. Yeah, you know, we'll get into this one in just a second. All right, we're back, and we're about to step off into Solartaire. Let's build ourselves a syzygy, shall we? So, pile cards of every suit on their corresponding planet. Cards that share the same suit, that's the middle symbol, can be stacked. Every card also has an aspect, that's the top symbol, which denotes an additional suit that the card can be stacked on. You can only pick up a stack of multiple cards if they share the same suit. Whenever a card is moved, the 2 planets corresponding to the planet's suit and aspect advance their orbit. Each planet has 3 orbit levels which it rotates through as its orbit advances. And cards can only be moved between planets with the same orbit level unless one of those planets is empty. Cards can be placed on planets with 0 cards from anywhere. Okay. That seems... there's a lot to keep track of. So... we gotta make sure that... none of our stacks here are like the root card in none of the stacks. This is the right planet, so that's a shame. We want to try to, I guess, but I'm seeing, if I'm looking at the top symbol, I'm doing the wrong thing. Sorry. The corners represent the big symbol, the important symbol. So actually, yeah, actually we have a couple. We have a couple of cards that are in the right place already. So orbits advance whenever the 2 cards corresponding to the moved card's suit and aspect. This is going to take me a minute to fully wrap my head around. I apologize. So, okay. We can stack cards on things of their same suit or cards of their aspect. So, like, I can put this here. And if I do, it's going to advance... you 2. Okay, which looks like that. We can only pick up stacks of cards that are actually the same suit. And then I can't move between these 2 anymore because I changed the orbit. Okay, alright. So we're gonna have to dig... in each of these stacks, we're going to have to dig until we hit a card that is correctly aligned. We're going to have to dig until we reach the topmost card that is correctly aligned. Or, well, until the topmost card. the bottommost card that is in the correctly aligned group with the top, which for most of them is going to be nothing. Which is going to just have us digging all the way to the bottom. Move all that shit out and then put in new cards that are the right kind of thing. And I guess just creating big stacks of cards that are the same suit is not a terrible way to do that. Do I want these cards? Here's like a question. Do I want these cards to be stacked on the card that they are the suit of? Or do I want them... It would be better if they were stacked... I guess the real answer is it depends more on what the card underneath is, right? What am I trying to free up? So... we can... kind of arbitrarily just stick this here, which is going to pull you down, and then the next time this would pull down, it's going to reset, right? There's only 3 levels. So, I need to... now... we're starting to show an awful lot of Earth here. And these two are still in the same orbit. This, we don't have a lot of this showing. Jupiter? Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. I used to know all these by just like very quickly by sight too. I guess that's the symbol I'm exposing from either of these stacks. So, well, the other thing is which planet am I moving, right? Because so I want to move this one because the aspect is Saturn, and I want to move Saturn because moving Saturn means we can run these two Neptunes together. Yeah. Okay, and then once I've moved the Saturn, it's going to be Saturn down, and I'd like for... see, this is tricky because I don't really want to move... yeah, I don't really want to move... we're going to be stacking Neptunes, moving Neptune down, and Neptune's bringing with it this Saturn, and so I don't really want to desync it from Jupiter anymore because Jupiter has all those Saturns on it. But oh no, actually, okay, that did bring them into sync. Part of the problem here too is that I'm spending so much time looking at the bottom of the stacks that it's going to seem to me like when the bottom of the stacks are not in the same line that the planets are out of sync, like here. I remember to look up at where the actual worlds are, where the celestial bodies are. Okay, so we're building up our stack of Neptunes. Earth and Jupiter are in phase right now, so I could bounce this stack of these, and I'm assuming that when you move stuff, it's just the most buried card that, yeah, it's that's checked for aspects and stuff as far as what's going to move. So we're getting a pretty healthy stack of Earth going here. I would like to add this to the pile of Saturn's building up on Neptune, but in order to do that, we are going to have to either pull Neptune down one or reset Earth and then pull it down. I guess we can definitely move Earth down more. All right, you guys are not in phase. Also, it definitely feels to me like on this one I'm going to have an easy time accidentally locking the puzzle by pulling things that are like that really desperately need to be in phase with each other out of phase at a bad moment. But I think I'm just going to have a very hard time avoiding that. I don't know if there's a lot I can do necessarily. How do I want to advance this? I don't really want to be placing stuff on top of the Neptune stacks, but this will pull Saturn down one, which will put it, I think, in line with Neptune, right? Yeah. I guess it's not actually that valuable. Why did I think that was going to be useful? So I need to... I mean, I really don't... Yeah, this is very inconvenient. I guess like we can. It feels bad to break up the Mars ones here. Like we're trying to intentionally get stacks of stuff going. But I guess I also need to remember that I'm trying to dig down to symbols, which I'm not doing a very good job of. Trying to come up with a plan here. I'm trying to come up with like an actual strategy for approaching this instead of just doing whatever I can do at any moment. We're getting like pretty close to the bottom of this pile. My inclination is to try to keep doing that, so I don't really want to throw another card on here, which means that actually we have like kind of only one other move. Okay, so I can't stack this on here. I almost tried, but the because I see the Venus symbol on both of them, but this can be stacked on Venus. Venus cannot be stacked on it. It is a little weird. So we can't move this off of Mercury until like if we could bump it down one, we could move it. We can move the Venus card off onto Saturn. So, is there a way to slide it down one? I guess rehoming this thing pulls it down and also pulls down Jupiter, which is like fine, doesn't matter. And then doing this lightens the load of the planet once again. Now the only thing you're in phase with, unfortunately, is Saturn. I would love to keep these two together, but if I do this, we're going to move Venus and Jupiter both down one, which is going to give me the ability to offload this Mars card. That's going to bump Mars and Jupiter. And then we've got this is Uranus, right? We've got a Uranus showing that is not something we can get rid of under current circumstances. Well, we've almost managed to dig one planet down to just cards that are actually appropriate for its stack, so that's good. We're kind of making a mess of things in the interim, but it's good overall, I think. I would love to move Jupiter again, get it aligned with Uranus so that we can move all these Earth cards together. So, well, that would also move Uranus. I need to move like this. That lets me dump all of those, which is great. And then Jupiter's getting pretty close to clear as well. Alright, so I need... If we were in phase with Venus, we could drop this card off on Venus. Or we could drop the stack off on on Saturn if we can get Saturn back up here. Or Jupiter down there. You guys are not in sync. Actually, are we? This is very bad. Yeah, actually, I think I can move Saturn down and Earth down. This isn't exactly what I want to be doing, but we got to get some movement, and I think that might be the only movement available, right? Or I could take it the other way. Actually, I could pick up this whole stack. Like, it feels bad to put stuff on Jupiter, but it's temporary. And it's a lot of cards, but it is just one object, really. So what would this do? This would drop Venus and Earth down one each, which puts Venus in line with all these planets at the top. Yeah, I think I would rather do it this way. I would rather stack. It's inconvenient to put a card on top of all these Earth cards. We're doing such a good job of prepping Earth for movement. But we gotta focus, one thing at a time. So when I do this, it's gonna drop Saturn and Mercury. And that's actually really good because that means we can move all of this stuff onto Saturn. Okay. So Jupiter is ready to receive Jupiter cards. One thing that's definitely good about this is that we can now expose a Neptune, which will allow us to move the Uranus card off of Venus and get us back on the Venus project as well. But obviously I have to get them in line first. And that's probably like our next thing, is trying to get those two in line. So is there a way that I can advance Mercury one space? That's like the most important thing right now. It's sort of an ugly way of doing things, but it'll work. Do this here, and then I need Jupiter to bounce once. Yeah, if we get Jupiter to move once, we can pack this over here. With Jupiter's third phase, I was thinking moving this over is kind of good because it moves they move Saturn down, and then we can move, you know, we can break this stack of Venus cards temporarily just to get the right planet movement, but this actually doesn't do that. It does move Venus down, and like moving Venus down may be the better way to get this done. It doesn't matter how we do it, as long as we bring them in phase. So I can just move this back and it'll bring them both down again. Seems fine. Okay. So now we got all these huge stacks of cards in third phase. And the question is, what do I want to move? I'd love to get both of these cards over onto Venus, but obviously either one of them moves Venus. And we can't... Yeah, I can't move Venus and also the other one that has the Venus on top of the stack, so we're just going to have to do that for the moment. Alright, we can... Now... Sadly, well, I can do this. I'm trying to get these cards clear, obviously, so that we can stack them on each other, but for right now, this will work to try to get us back in phase with with Mercury, just moving it back and forth. And now we can get to cleaning up our stacks a little bit. Earth is actually getting pretty close to clear as well. Now I need to get it back down here, or I need to get Neptune up. It's a shame I have literally nowhere to move this card to. Yeah, these two being all the way down here is kind of a huge pain in the ass. They are complicating things for us tremendously. So I could move, like, I can move this over to here, which would lower Venus and Mars. We're trying to affect Earth and Neptune, but I may not be able to do so directly. It may be like I have to, you know, make some moves around. Moving down Saturn and Venus. It's not super helpful, but moving Venus down at least like carries this card closer to Neptune. And then I can move you off to here, which lets me pull that back to the top stack and get this to here. And then we're not quite ready to make the move on Earth yet, in these Earth cards. Could stack this over on Venus. If I want to move Uranus, I don't think it breaks anything to move it, but it's not ideal for sure. Then if we move this over, Mars and Uranus drop. But I need to move Jupiter, right? I don't really want to put that there. I want to move Jupiter at no cost to me. So this will drop Jupiter and Earth. Making it hard to get, obviously. Like, I really don't want to drop them both at the same time. Yeah, I guess this is fine. So it's gonna move Jupiter and Mars down. It doesn't help me with the Uranus problem, but nothing really does. So let's see here. You're in line with you. Oh, that's right. I can move a bunch of Earth cards over even if Earth's not in phase. There's a special rule for this for a reason. And that was a pretty good chunk of the total Earth cards. We're doing well on that one. There's a couple that are still stuck over here. You know, I jammed them up in Uranus and I just can't find them anymore. How does such a thing happen? So this will reset Jupiter to the top. And we'll need it to come down one more if we wanted to be able to claim this card. Or we have to get, obviously, the other one back up. We have a lot of cards right now, or a lot of stacks where like the root card wants to land on a Neptune. Let's see, I can move all of the Saturns over onto Saturn temporarily to move Venus and Saturn. Now I have like Jupiter cards open at every phase, which is that's not really what I'm looking for. This would pull Mars, and moving this to here obviously would pull Jupiter and Mars down, which is not really what I want. Oh, we're not in phase anyway. Yeah, putting this over here lets me pull both of them down, and then I can reverse it, and that gets me in line with that one. And then I can easily pull... Oh, right. Sorry, let's go the other way around. No, it's not. Oh, you guys aren't in phase. What am I doing? They're not in phase at all. Still need to drop it some. Let's see. I can unite some Neptune cards. That moves Saturn, which is almost helpful. Right, it gets them on the same line, but obviously that doesn't do a ton for me right now. I guess one thing I should be looking at is like opportunities to move like the whole stack off of a planet in order to achieve some kind of beneficial situation with any other planet's movement, because then we can just put them right back afterward, regardless of what the movement we caused was. So let's stack up these Mars cards together. We don't actually have a pile of Neptunes ready to go, which is a little bit of a shame. Nor do I even have much of a plan for how I would get one going. But we can use this planet as a temporary like storage ground for some other stuff. Doing this is gonna line up Uranus and Jupiter, so I can move this other Jupiter along. So this won't put me in phase to move cards from here to Neptune, sadly. I can move Neptune instead, or I can move Uranus. That's Uranus and Venus, never mind. Still, just getting stuff moving is getting the stacks of suits growing taller is valuable in itself. I would love to be able to move this if we could get a little bit of movement on Mars. Yeah, so we could then pop this over to here, allowing me to move this to here, which gets me Jupiter moving on to Jupiter and the stack of Mars cards at least staying together. Now, if we could advance Uranus 1, we could get it to line up with this big stack of cards that are eventually meant for it. Mars is in the wrong spot. We gotta fix that. So we can move all the Jupiter cards over onto Earth, which will drop Venus and Jupiter. This isn't terrible, actually. Right, and now that we've done that, we can have Neptune accept the large stack of cards bound for Uranus, eventually bound for Uranus. This will move Neptune and Uranus both down, which I don't... doesn't immediately do anything. We've got a pretty big stack of reds here that could be potentially broken if we need it to, in order to provoke the right kinds of planet movement. It also actually lets me do this, which is valuable because, like, we might, in theory, be able to get a Neptune card onto Neptune at some point. So let's see here. This is a stack of Venus cards that wants to land on top of a Neptune card, just like everything else does, unfortunately. Oh, we finally lined those two up. That's a situation that we should definitely take advantage of. So this is one of those cases I was talking about where, like, we can move this whole stack off of here and then just move it back regardless of where the planets end up. So is that a good thing? Do I want to advance Uranus in this situation? I don't think it's super helpful right now. I mean, the other thing it does, of course, is advance Jupiter to this point where we could pull this card from Jupiter and advance Venus. And then I need to move Jupiter again for it to take its stack back at that point. And is that a good idea? Actually, I do like this because advancing Venus here aligns it with Mars, allowing me to move. Well, I guess I already had a way to move these off. But that's great, obviously, because of the Mars clearance. And then if I move this to here, it'll bring Jupiter down one step closer to Mars. Still need to advance Jupiter one more time before I can cycle these things back, but we'll get there. So we can advance Neptune and Uranus. Is that valuable in this situation? That all of these would be sitting on top of that. My Neptune cards are kind of like weirdly buried throughout the Saturn stack, and we are going to have to start untangling the Saturn stack at some point. It's not the worst thing in the world to move this over to here for a moment. That lines these up, and this would let me, like, if I play this, it will empty Jupiter again. For me to be able to move this forward onto. And when this moves Uranus down, it'll let me realign these. Now we have an empty Mars that I would love to use. I would love to just bump all the Mars cards onto it, but we're in a little bit of a spot with that still. How am I going to... I'm actually a little unsure how I'm going to resolve. We have so many of these stacks of cards going that it's so hard to get them into the right places. If I swap this over, Venus and Neptune both advance. And then I can do that as many times as I want. It's a little awkward because I am trying to align this card with the Venus stack, But if I move it over to here now, then Venus is aligned with Mars and we can pull the whole Venus stack back. If I could... Like, we just move this to here. Then we have... It moves Saturn and Jupiter, which is not, I think, actually valuable at all right now. But it gives us another showing Neptune, which I can move on to here. And now we've got another planet that only has cards of its actual suit on it, which is great. That said, before I can really make use of it, I need to get these cards off onto the Jupiter stack. Moving this down to here sadly advances both planets. But if I swap this back and forth, I guess I can put this here and then move the whole stack. This is gonna advance Jupiter though. And if I move this down, it does not cause... Yeah, it doesn't advance the right planets at all. Earth and Jupiter will still be out of phase. Sadly, still will Venus and Saturn. But now I can move this to here to bring Jupiter in phase with Mars, and that'll let us recoup. And then when you do this, you're going to advance Venus and Neptune. So we want to play it here then, because that'll put those together. Okay. Now I move you forward in order to align Neptune with a Jupiter that actually has base Neptune cards on it. And look at that, we're starting to build another correct stack. Now all we have to do is really dig out, the Saturn stack is the thing that's in the worst shape right now. Let's see, I can move this, they're not in sync. Darn it, I need movement from Mars. So it's actually not super easy to achieve right at this moment. And boy, I really buried Earth. So you can move this here to align Jupiter with... No, let's just move the Mercury card. So now we need to... it would be best to advance Uranus once. Although this is a terrible card to do it with, because I'm trying to bring it in line with Jupiter, and this would just move them both. Yeah, how do I continue unraveling? So I could do this to move Uranus and Jupiter forward. We're not going to need to move another Jupiter card onto this stack anytime soon, so I think this is okay. Now with these two on the same spot here, we could advance Mars. Trying to be thoughtful about how I break up the stacks, you know? We really, like, we've got to get this whole situation sorted. Alright, Uranus is out of phase with all of the cards that have Uranus stacks on the bottom, which is really frustrating at this moment. If I do this, it will advance Uranus 1. Allow me to dump a lot of Mars cards actually on Mars, which is pretty fun. And then we can start consolidating Uranus cards properly, which is also fun. We're out of phase with Mars in an unfortunate way. If I just move... If we pull... Getting all discombobulated looking at my options. I keep having, as you can tell from the way I'm speaking, I keep having like half ideas and then immediately going, oh no, that's not the right way to do that. So we can move this finally off of the Earth stack. But obviously I was hoping to move it into a place where it lets the Venus card line up with the other Venus cards. And we don't have an Earth card anywhere else available for this Venus card to move to. So basically I just need to get this stack back off of here to somewhere else soon. But right now it would push Saturn into line with Jupiter, allowing me to stack my Uranus cards better. And commit more movement, although I'm not exactly sure what. We'll get there. We'll get it all untangled. So do I want to move Jupiter or Neptune when I do this? I guess moving Neptune when I do this allows Neptune to take another card immediately. Then we can just stack up some more Mars. Okay, and now we can actually move this thing off of here, not onto a Venus card from somewhere else, but instead just onto more Saturn cards. Saturn in alignment with Mars. Can do this, which is going to put Saturn in alignment with Neptune, which is great. Then that lets me place all of these home, although I don't have to do that right now. Is there any other move I would rather make? No, probably not. It's a little bit of a shame that this advances Mars, because Mars is aligned with Uranus right now, but I can't really do anything about it either. Okay, I can move this card here and then back to advance these two, such that Earth ends up aligned with Venus. We can pull that to there. We're getting closer. Now I need to... This move advances Uranus enough to let me get the Mars off of it, which is a thing we desperately need to do. Desperately is strong, but you know, we do need to do it. Now, if I place this here and then move it back, we get Earth aligned with Uranus there. That's fantastic. Oh, when that comes down, it lines us up with Jupiter. And there you go. That one's really cool. I like that one a lot. What was the difficulty of that rated? Not that I'm super hung up on the difficulty. Yeah. No, I think that one's really, really rad. The extra spatial considerations and stuff are super fun. All right, well, I think it's probably like just chalk up a couple of victories, get my confidence back a little bit, and just call it there for today. So that's going to be it for us for right now. Thank you all so much for watching. When you return next time, maybe we'll go back. I'd like to let it sit for a few episodes, but we're also rapidly running out of variants. I don't know. When you come back, it's going to be some more Solitaire. Big surprise. And we'll see you then.